I believe the Buffalo Bills are past the point of no return. If they do not want to waste the career of their generational Hall of Fame all-time quarterback in Josh Allen, well, Terry Pegula, the owner of the Buffalo Bills, has to go out there and make a major decision this offseason. What is that decision as you're watching the Bills Breakdown by Chat Sports? Well, I think we need new leadership. Firing Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane. It has to be done for your Buffalo Bills. Is this decision being made because they lost in Week 12 to the Houston Texans? No. It is the culmination of a bunch of major mistakes, major mishaps, and overall organizational malpractice by the man who is the general manager and the man who is the head coach. It has been nearly a decade at this point, and the Bills have not gotten further than where they were in 2020, a half decade ago. So I think you need to go out there and move on from these two individuals, bring some new blood in to lead Josh to the Lombardi Trophy. Before we get into why these two people need to be moved on from in Buffalo, I want to make sure that you guys are subscribed to the channel because I think a lot of Bills fans have this same sentiment that McBeane needs to go. So if you agree and you want free Bills content every single day, because that's what you get when you subscribe, hit that sub button right now as we're trying to get to our next milestone of 9,000 subs. Just 245 diehard members of the Mafia away from getting to 9K. Help us out and hit that subscribe button right now for free Bills content. All right, let's start here with head coach and Sean McDermott, because honestly, I think McDermott, more so than Beane in this situation, is a guy that should have been fired 3 years ago. Is it exactly 3 years ago? I think it's coming up on close to 5 years ago at this point. 13 seconds should have been the end of Sean McDermott. Losing the Chiefs the next time probably should have been the end of Sean McDermott. Losing the Chiefs maybe the time after that probably should have been the end of Sean McDermott. You have 4 playoff losses to Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Kansas City Chiefs, and you continue to bring back the guy that loses those football games. Whether it is the coordinator for losing that game against the Chiefs when they let up the field goal in 13 seconds, well, you know what? Sean McDermott hired the coordinator. Whatever excuse you want to make for McDermott, it just boils down to he is owned by Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, it is plain and simple. He's not going to beat them anytime soon. Does anybody in Bills Mafia believe that if the Chiefs and the Bills are to match up in the postseason this time around, that they would go out there and win? What has suggested to you that that would be the case? It makes no sense. And honestly, how could you continue to employ Sean McDermott when the Bills defense looks the way that it does week in and week out? This is a defensive head coach, and he can't coach a defense for more than a half hour. I mean, you let up 20 points in the first half to Davis Mills. Great second half. Nice job, Bobby Babich, who, by the way, is a McDermott yes man. And you allow 3 points and 60 total yards in half number 2. Awesome. Well, guess what? The rest of the team on the offensive side wasn't picking up the slack. So that 20 points that you allowed to Davis Mills in the first half, it was too much. And the 35 points per game that you allow in all of your playoff losses since Josh Allen has become the starting quarterback, yeah, that's because of you. That is because of your defense that you have trotted out there, that you have implemented the scheme towards. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And speaking of coordinators that we just talked about, like Leslie Frazier, who a lot of people like to blame for the 13 seconds, well, the guy can't find a good coordinator. He can't keep a good coordinator. He had a bad relationship with Leslie Frazier. They butted heads, and he basically pushed him out of there. Brian Dable is the only coordinator that has gotten a head coaching job, and what happened with Dable when he got in the big seat there? I mean, Ken Dorsey, where's he right now? It makes no sense to me that the Bills continue to have coordinators that people complain about and have issues with, and they're not able to reach their ceilings because of. We're seeing that with Joe Brady now as well. And guess what Sean McDermott's saying in the press? We believe in Joe Brady. We have a good offensive staff. A good offensive staff would score against the Atlanta Falcons in the second half. A good offensive staff would have created at least one touchdown for Josh Allen against the Houston Texans in Week 12. A good offensive staff wouldn't call back-to-back James Cook runs up the gut out of the shotgun when he's gassed and the Bills need to go get a first down. It's inexcusable. The only thing that should save Sean McDermott's job here with the Buffalo Bills is a Super Bowl, at least appearance. I'm teetering on back and forth as to whether or not just straight up winning a Super Bowl would be the only thing that I would keep Sean McDermott around for. At the end of the day, I'm just not that inspired by Sean McDermott. Is anybody really? Like, even then, if you were to get to the Super Bowl, can anybody envision Sean McDermott hoisting the Lombardi Trophy, confetti falling on him? Like, do opposing coaches fear Sean McDermott? I don't think that they do. So I would get somebody else in the seat. Like, when do you just go to ownership and say, we need change? Like, what we've had here is good, but it's not good enough. You can win as many AFC East divisions. Oh, wait, that's gone now too. You're not going to win the division this time around. You can get to as many AFC Oh, wait, you only get to a couple AFC title games and haven't yet gotten past it. Like, there's only so much you can endure before it's time for change, and I think we're well past that at this point. Honestly, I think we're past the point of a defensive head coach leading the Buffalo Bills. We need an offensive guy. The sun revolves around Josh Allen. Whether you like it or not, the Buffalo Bills are the Buffalo Josh Allens. You need to do whatever it takes to tailor up success for number 17. They have not done so just yet, and maybe that's because of the guy in the general manager spot as well. Honestly, guys, like, Brandon Beane's seat might be hotter, but we got to talk about Sean McDermott here first and ask you guys this quick question. What would you guys do with Sean McDermott? F for fire, K for keep. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think right now. I seriously think that McDermott is in a position where he just I think the gas has run out. I think he's exhausted all options here, and we're looking at some change that needs to come for the Buffalo Bills. Let me know in the comment section, F for fire, K for keep. What would you do with Sean McDermott? We'll talk more about Brandon Beane around the corner. First, though, I got to tell you guys about our proud sponsor, and that is PrizePicks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports platform, and you can get started with $50 instantly in lineups in your account after you play your first $5 lineup. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old, so download the best daily fantasy sports app in the game with PrizePicks. All you guys got to do is pick 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on their projected stats. It takes less than 60 seconds to create a lineup. Take it from me, I've been a customer longer than they've even been a sponsor here at Chat Sports. It's the most aesthetically pleasing, it's the easiest to use, and they offer the best features like stacks. So if you want to take multiple stat projections from the same player, like Josh Allen pass yards, Josh Allen rushing yards, Josh Allen touchdowns, all in the same lineup, you can do so only on PrizePicks. It's also becoming a social event as well, where you can follow other creators, your friends, celebrities, and copy their picks into your own lineup using the brand new feed tab. So, new users can get hooked up with $50 instantly in those lineups when you use our promo code CLNS. Download the PrizePicks app today and use that code CLNS for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. I think we're going to get a little bit more heated about Brandon Beane throughout this segment. Honestly, I think Brandon Beane has made a couple of decisions that are franchise-altering, franchise derailing, and honestly limiting the Buffalo Bills from going out there and making and winning a Super Bowl. The wide receiver position is what we're going to talk about first. And it's just so funny because your number 1 wide receiver is currently benched. Keon Coleman's on the sidelines getting healthy scratches because you decided to draft a undisciplined, unprofessional, honestly unskilled wide receiver. I can't believe that the Bills watched the Keon Coleman tape and were like, yeah, this guy's going to be a good NFL wide receiver. He has no route tree. He's not physical enough at the catch point when that's the one calling card that he should have. And honestly, he hasn't shown the best work ethic through the first 2 seasons of his NFL career. And when you consider the context around Keon Coleman, it is a fireable offense in itself. You trade down with the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't care who they draft. I don't care if you draft a Hall of Famer and they draft an absolute bum. You don't do business with the Kansas City Chiefs. They go out there and draft 99 speed Xavier Worthy. Josh Allen. Imagine Josh Allen had a Xavier Worthy on the roster right now. Wouldn't that open up a hell of a lot? Then you decided to draft Keon Coleman, who, at the time, people liked him. I'm not gonna even bury you as much for that. What I am gonna bury you for is the context. They trading down with the Chiefs, them getting Worthy, and then 1 pick later, the Chargers drafting Ladd McConkey. 1 pick behind you. What a joke. But hey, he had other opportunities. He had more chances to go out there and shore up the wide receiver spot for the Bills. They had an opportunity at the trade deadline. Remember, there were so many names available, so many solid wide receivers the Bills could go out there and improve with. Chris Olave was a name that's getting floated around. Rashid Shaheed ended up getting traded to the Seattle Seahawks. You had Jacoby Myers get dealt to the Jacksonville Jaguars. There was even Jaylen Waddle in trade rumors. And the Bills were involved in those trade rumors, in those trade talks that the Dolphins were listening to. The Bills had a Jaylen Waddle trade in place, but they didn't want to give up the 2026 first-round pick. That was the hiccup with Miami. It was a first and a third going to the Dolphins for Jaylen Waddle. And Brandon Beane wouldn't give up this year's pick. What are you doing? It is just embarrassing. And then when you consider where else Brandon Beane has left his mark on the wide receiver position for this football team, it's embarrassing. Caden Prather in the 7th round this past draft, and out of the league, off the team. Keon Coleman in the 2nd round, jury's still out on that, I guess, right? Justin Shorter in the 5th round in 2023, out of the league. Khalil Shakir, nice hit. Nice hit there, but he's a gadget slot receiver. There's a reason he got drafted in the 5th round. Marquise Stevenson in the 6th round, is he still in the NFL? Doubt it. You just brought back Gabe Davis to the practice squad. He's not even on the 53-man roster at this point. Isaiah Hodgins got picked up by the New York Giants. He was in and out of Buffalo very quickly. Ray McLeod is bouncing on and off practice squads. Austin Prohl, guys. He didn't even draft one in round 1 his entire Bills general manager tenure so far. It is embarrassing. At the end of the day, I'm going to keep saying that word over and over again. It is embarrassing what the Buffalo Bills do to support their star quarterback. The only solid guy that you drafted that can catch the ball, he doesn't even play. Where's Dalton Kincaid? He's already missed 3 games this season, missed 4 games last season, missed a game in his rookie year. This guy can't stay healthy. He's got a drop problem. Dropped that big ball in the 2024, or I guess 2025 AFC Championship game. You'd think the most skilled player on your football team in Dalton Kincaid would at least be able to be available, but he hasn't been. And even when they draft good players, they can't get it right. It's unbelievable. Drafting players in general. People talk about Brandon Beane and his ability to get steals on day 3 of the draft and all that stuff. And I know Pro Bowls aren't the measuring stick, but they are at least a measuring stick. Outside of Josh Allen and James Cook, has Brandon Beane drafted a single Pro Bowler? I'll wait. Look it up. Go find it. It's Dawson Knox was an alternate, and I don't even count. I'm not counting that shit. He hasn't drafted one seriously impact player. The one calling card that Brandon Beane does have is the fact that he, gets a couple of value free agency signings and whatnot. He knows how to, make some value out of guys who are maybe underlooked at the rest around the league. But even then, he can't do that right. We'll tell you why in a second. But let's talk more draft. What about Kyrie Elam in the 1st round? What about Boogie Basham in the 2nd round? What about Cody Ford in round 2 as well back in 2019? We don't forget, we judge an entire resume here for Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott. It is unacceptable. Now let's talk about his spending money. You brought in Von Miller, which basically crippled the team. It's probably the reason you didn't go out there and make a trade for a wide receiver, because it was tough to absorb as much money as you would have had to. The Bills are still paying dead cap money to Von Miller here. So even when you try to land a big fish, it blows up in your face. What else do we have? Oh yeah, he does not know how to spend money. Perfect. Okay, so this is one of the funniest things that I think I'll ever see. Curtis Samuel. Just listen to this. In Curtis Samuel's 1.5 seasons with the Bills, he's earned roughly $12.6 million. That makes me want to throw up in itself, but let's just boil it down, right? That's 38,000 yards a yard. $38,000 a yard of receiving. Think about that. This guy has to get 1 yard, 40 bands in the account. Imagine having 40 bands in the account. $229,000 a target. That's unbelievable. $331,000 per reception. $630,000 per active game. $900,000 for a first down. And $6.3 million per touchdown. Embarrassing. Oh, yeah, and you see that at the bottom of your screen right now? Dawson Knox makes over $9 million. To do what? Jaquan Jones, who has made a couple of plays this season, but is not a $7 million a year player. It's a disaster. It is a disaster. At some point, folks, enough is enough. But at the end of the day, I think I just wasted my breath for these last 15 minutes that we've been talking about this, because it's not happening. Tim Graham already said it. No matter what happens at the end of the season, neither one's getting fired. You're just going to go into another year of mediocrity and insufficient support around your Hall of Fame generational quarterback. It's unfortunate, but That's the reality of the situation. The Bills need to fire Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, but they won't. Just look at how Terry McGuire runs the Buffalo Sabres. I'll ask you, though, because just because it's fun, right? Make a decision for us as we get out of here on today's show. If it's fire Sean McDermott, just type an HC for head coach in the comments. If it's Brandon Beane, you just get fired and you would give Sean McDermott another chance, just type GM. But if it's fire both, which I would be typing my both down below, type both in the comment section. That will do it for today's show. We'll see you guys in the next edition of the Bills Breakdown by Chat Sports. We'll see you guys then, and as always, let's go Buffalo.